Hello, and this is our last video for today, or for week 4, Hope and Moving Onward. So hopefully watch the first 2 videos I had talking about hope, and then the poems, and one of those poems is a song that I shared. So how we're going to wrap up for the week and with camp is I'm going to go back to my first video from today talking about hope. So I had mentioned that if you were able to think about what hope meant to you, to write it down. If you are able to do this, or you just want to think about it, that's fine too. But if you're able, I was going to say write inside your journal that we provided, or you can write it down on blank paper, or if you have another thing at home you want to write it in, that's perfectly fine too. But I want you to think again about with hope, and to think about what you do for hope. Is there anything that you do that helps you have hope? That can also be thinking about some things that are good in your life. So I have a couple of examples here. There's, again, no right or wrong way, but maybe you think about, some good things in my life. Well, what do I hope for? What do I want as I move forward in my grief? Maybe that's I hope that I feel better. I hope that I'm not sad. I hope that I see them again. I hope that I don't cry as much. Or maybe I hope that I can cry. There's no right or wrong way, no right or wrong thing to say. But first, writing down and think, after you think about it a little bit, what do I hope for? If you need to pause this video, that's fine. You can come back. But that's something to think about. What do I hope for? So I also mentioned thinking about some things that are good in your life. Some things to think about that might help you is who loves me? Who spends time with me? Who's my best friend? What's my favorite food? Where's my favorite place to go or to be? What's my favorite game to play? Or do I have a favorite toy? Those are just a couple of examples of things that might help you think about. What are some good things I have in my life? So I also had mentioned that with the hope aspect of writing what you do hope for, you could write those examples of the things that are good in your life in the journal as well, on the blank paper we gave you, on your own paper, or anything else that you have at home, or where you're doing these activities for you to be able to do it. So the last thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and take out of your big bag the wrapped gift. So this is our last activity we're going to do. And as you see, it should have your name on the front. And you're going to go ahead and open the first layer after you answer this first question. So my first question for the 5th layer is, what was your favorite thing that you did for Camp Healing Hurts online, and why? So you can write it down if you want. You can just say it out loud. You can just think it, whichever is fine. And for our last week, I'm hoping to do this together. So if you're able to hold on and share until the end, we can do that. But if you already opened it, that's okay too. So go ahead and open that layer. Pause this if you need to. Then for the 4th layer, the question I have for you is, did you find Camp Healing Hearts online to be helpful? Was it fun? So again, same thing, you can write it down, or you can just think about it, or if you're doing this with the group, we can share it. So go ahead and open that 4th layer. Need to pause it, that is perfectly okay too. Another question to think about is, what would you tell other kids who asked you about Camp Healing Hearts? Then for our 3rd layer, the question is, what is something you learned while doing Camp Healing Hearts online? So I want you to think about that. And again, you can share it when we do it together. You can share it out loud. You can write it, whichever works for you. And go ahead and open that third layer. Then for our second layer, I want you to think about is how are you feeling about the death of your special person? Do you think you are more able to talk about how you feel after doing camp? Do you also think it's okay to talk about it? So I want you to think about those things and then go ahead and open the second layer. Again, you can share this by writing it, saying it out loud, doing it when we do it together as a group, whichever is perfectly okay. Then for our last layer, or the first layer of paper, I want you to think about what would help you cope as you move forward in your grief. What will help you remember and honor your special person that died. So think about that a little bit, then feel free to share it, write it, pause the video if you need to, and then open that last layer. So that is the last activity I have for us to do for Camp Healing Hearts. And I hope that this activity was helpful for you too, to think about everything we did at camp. Hopefully you did learn some things. Hopefully this was helpful to you, maybe even fun. And I hope that if you haven't done camp before in person, that hopefully you can join us next year. We're very hopeful to be able to have our camp in person. While I'm glad we were able to do this, I hope it was helpful. There is definitely a difference with being in person and being able to share with each other. Hopefully being able to connect online was helpful this year. It's a little different than the year before, but I really hope that all of this was helpful to you. And in the next video I have, I'm just going to talk a little bit about the other activities that I provided that you can feel free to do. Again, I like to add things because sometimes what we might have done for the camp wasn't as helpful, or maybe you need some additional things that might be helpful for you to talk and process your grief.